Hello everybody, this is Jamie, and we're back for another VRChat tutorial. Today I'm going to be telling you guys how to do the animation of the wings. This is practically the same tutorial as the last one about how to animate the robot, except I'm doing this today because it's pretty much the same thing. I'm doing this because I got a lot of messages on Discord asking how you do something like that because I based my tutorial on something being created from scratch by myself. I did it on a little robot. And I know a lot of you have these characters that you've downloaded and you don't want to create something. How do you do something similar for animating the pre-existing body? How do you do that? So I'm going to go through this tutorial on how to animate wings. And today I'm going to be doing it on this model right here that I actually got from someone who asked me for help. I tried explaining it to him, but I'm not very good at explaining it over text. So I'm going to try to do it through this video to actually show you what it's going to look like. Here's this really old model that I made back when I started VRChat a long time ago. This was made for desktop mode, so I posed it a very specific way. But this is practically how the animation is going to look. Just like that. It's a little loop animation, very simple to do. Though back in the day, I did this with bones. I made those bones myself, and I made it do that. And you can actually do it a different way with shape keys, like I am going to show you today. So I can get rid of that. And I'm going to now show you how to do it with this model. So I just very quickly did Cat's plugin decimation, so it's not going to look the greatest model. I'm not actually going to use this in game. I'm just doing it for the tutorial. But you can actually optimize your models to look however they like. Doesn't matter. But we're going to go right into how to animate this. I'm going to hide the bones because I don't need it. So he has these wings here that he wants to animate. How exactly should I go about doing that? It's the exact same thing as I did last time. I'm going to click on the mesh, hit the tab key to go to edit mode, or if I don't want to do hotkeys, I can go down to object mode and go up to edit mode. From there, I want to go down here where these three boxes are. You see there's a point, there's edges, and faces. We want faces. It's the easiest way to grab something. And what you could do is go in and select every single vertex of the wing. This is the really annoying part. And in some models, you're going to have to do this because you can't do the easy method. Turns out I practiced with this model a little bit. I can actually make it easier and do little shortcuts. But for most models, the objects are touching each other and you can't really do the shortcut method. What is the shortcut method I'm talking about? If you hover over a mesh and you press the L key, it will select the different groups of the body that are vertex groups and whatnot. And this model is actually really great for it, surprisingly enough. I haven't tried this yet. It actually selects little areas on its own. That's perfect. But a lot of models will not be like that. Most of the time when you try to hit L, it'll be more like that and select the entire model. That's not what you need. So in some models, you're going to have to actually go and shift right click every single face of the body, which is really annoying. And it looks really hard to tell what it is right now because I have the texture showing. But if I go back to reset, it's all gray. It's a little bit easier to tell because it's orange on top of gray. But basically, you're just going to have to select all of the wings. Luckily for this guy, I can just hit the L key on the separate parts of the wings, and it can select those for me very quickly without me having to do it all individually myself. Let's go down here and grab these. Bam, just like that. And now the wing is selected. I know there's some loose parts back here because I tried this earlier. So I'll just grab these real quick. Just like that. If I test, there's a weird little edge there. It's not being selected. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be perfect for the tutorial right now. Actually, I can select it right there. There we go. And now we have the wing, and we can animate it with our shape keys. There's a lot of these hovering bits right here. You can animate those if you want. It's just really annoying to select them. For the case of the tutorial, I'm going to be quick today and not do that. So we're going to go back into edit mode. And this is not something you have to do. This is not mandatory, though I highly recommend you do this for coming back and working on this model in the future. When you look on the right side here, you'll see the camera, the pictures, so on and so forth. If you click on the little triangle right here, you can actually work on vertex groups, and in vertex groups you hit the plus. You name it whatever you want for what you're selecting. I will name it left wing because I'm selecting the entire left wing on the left side. And I hit select when I'm in edit mode. and that'll take every selected face of your mesh and add it to a vertex group. And what that does, if I deselect everything, I'm like, oh man, I don't want to click all of that again to reselect it. That's okay because you assigned it to a vertex group. You just hit select. Oh boy, I didn't do it. Why didn't it do it? Ah! So I actually do have to select it. Luckily for me, because this model is great, like I said before, I can just very quickly hit the L key and do everything again. It's a shame that I have to do that, though. It's odd that it didn't work. What's supposed to happen is you hit select and it automatically selects everything that you just had. Though it did not work, though I think that's because I had already assigned it to another vertex group just before that. So I'm going to try that again. Sorry about that. I'm going to remove and assign it again. Just click it a couple times, make sure. There we go. Now it works. Now when I hit the select button, it will automatically select everything without me having to go and select it all again. And you can do the same for the right wing. So I'm going to make another vertex group, call it right wing. Make it easier to select the right wing in the future. And now I'm going to have to go and select all of the right wing again. The main bits that I want to use, like down here. Oh, come on. It's weird sometimes with the selecting. Get the little bits like that. I don't think there's weird parts in the back like the other one was. It doesn't look like it. Nope. I'm not sure what those vertices are. I guess it's from that cat's decimation. I just go assign, deselect, select. There we go. Now we have the wing selected again. And now it's the fun part, the animation. First things first, we're going to do shape keys again. We're just going to go to the bottom of our shape keys. Don't really need to do that, but we're going to get out of edit mode real quick. Hit the plus sign to create a new shape key. I'm going to call it wings because you don't actually need to make two different animations. You can do one thing and one animation for your wings. We go back into edit mode and now we're editing for our animation. You go down here, you see where the little arrows and everything are for the curve and whatnot. You go over to these two balls right here and you switch it over to 3D cursor. And what that does is you're changing your rotation point to be where you have your cursor. So if you left click on the base of the wings, on the back, wherever you want the flap to be, when you do that, that is where your rotation point is going to be. So if I were to go back and select our left wing, and I hit R on the keyboard to do rotation, you'll notice it's rotating from that point that we put our cursor. So now, I'm actually going to put it in a little bit of a better spot, maybe right there. That'll work. The wing animation is not going to be perfect. This is just for a quick tutorial. You guys can polish it up as much as you want. But basically, while we're in our wing animation, we really just want to move it. I guess I'll move it this way, actually. I will move it like that, turn it a little bit, make it look a little better. There we go. And now the left wing is pretty much animated, but now we need to do the right wing. And you don't need to make a separate animation for this. You can do this both in just this one. So deselect everything by hitting A, or just go over here and hit deselect. Go to right wing, hit select, and then you move your cursor point. Don't forget to do this. Move your cursor point for the wing wherever you want. Let me just get it out of the way. Set it right there again. That's probably good enough. And I just, here, I'll actually move it again. You can be as picky about this as you want to be. You can rotate it if you want, do whatever. And make it look like it's flapping in. So this looks a little different from the other wing. I'm just going to polish it up a little bit. Just make it look a little better. Just whatever. It doesn't matter. And then you hit out of tab, out of edit mode, and you notice your model snaps back to where it was. And now when we go over to wings, over in our shape keys, and we move the value bar, we now have an animation for our wings. Though this animation is not set for an automatic loop for in VRChat. So instead what we're going to do, we can actually go down here to the timeline, change 250 to 60. You only need a 60-second animation. That's totally fine. Unless you want to add more features to it that take longer, you can make a longer animation. Though for this case, it's going to be a simple loop. At frame 1, we're going to hover over the value bar. You have to be hovering over the value bar, have it set at 0, and hit the I key on your keyboard. And that will make a keyframe. Then we go over to the 30th frame in the animation. We move the value bar over to 1, and we hover over it again and hit the I key. And that'll make a keyframe of our full animation. and then we go to frame 60, and we move it back to 0 and I key, and now we have made our very quick animation. And just like that, you have made your wings animated on your character for VRChat. Now, you can animate all these little specks if you wanted, because those are technically part of the wings, but like I said, for the sake of timing on the tutorial, I'm not going to do that, but you could totally make those flap with it too. But that looks pretty good. And that's pretty much your animation. You are done, or at least in Blender. Now it's to actually get it to work in Unity and in VRChat. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to File, Export, FBX, and then we're going to go over here to the Export FBX settings. In main, we're going to do Armature, Mesh. We're going to shift click those so we select both. Then we go to Geometry, and then we unapply the modifiers. We go to Armature, we get rid of leaf bones, and we go to Animation, and we get rid of Key All Bones, NLA strips, and all actions. And then we create a folder for where we want to put it. Maybe there's already a folder. Oops, wrong folder for me. There we go. And then we can just name it whatever we want. Wing Tut for tutorial, and export. Now your character should be good to go in Blender. It's all animated, and it's ready to be put into Unity and VRChat. And now I'm going to meet you over there for a very quick little setup of how to get your character used in VR. Alright everybody, welcome to Unity. And now I'm going to show you how to set up your idle animation for the wings to flap. Because currently, animation is not set up. So now we have our little model down here for the import settings, and what we want to do is first make sure the animation is included on the model, so we hit the arrow, and we do see that the animation right here called scene is included. So what we need to do is click on the model for the import settings. We go to rig, animation type, we set generic to legacy and hit apply. And once that loads into legacy, we click the arrow again, we click on scene, and we hit Control D, and that will duplicate the animation and separate it from the model. And we can name this whatever we want. I'll call it wing flap. We go back to the model and we change it from legacy to humanoid and hit apply. And you can configure the body to be fitting for VRChat. I'm going to do that in just a moment. I'm not going to do that right now. And instead we click on the model in the scene. Once you've included it in the scene, you add a component called animation. And then in the animation tab, you just go to your wing flap animation that you made earlier. Before you imported it, you go to wrap mode actually real quick and do loop. That will loop the animation. You go back to your scene with your animation and you have to put in the animation clip. You just drag and drop your wing flap animation in there. It will now play. So when I hit the play button to test my avatar, she has her wing flap animation. Perfect. That was very quick, very easy. And now I'm going to show you that it does indeed work in VRChat. So I'm just going to very quickly configure this. Alright, welcome to VRChat. First things first, I didn't actually take a whole lot of time configuring the model, so I completely forgot to change the forearms. And so it's a little broken. It happens. But other than that, the animation looks great. It turned out wonderful. Would you look at that? And it didn't take any time at all. Super quick with shape keys, and you could do like stuff like this with any model, anything you want to animate. If you have a tail on your model, it's the same thing. You just go in and you do all the stuff we did in that little bit of the video where you just select all the vertices of whatever it is you're playing with, and you make a shape key and you just move it around and you animate the values on the timeline. It's really not that difficult. As long as you know what you're looking for. And I know sometimes I don't explain very well what it is you're actually looking for. So if you do have questions, feel free to comment down below in the comments or message me on Discord and ask for help, because I would love to help you if I can. As for helping you visually with giving you some tips along the way, I think that's about probably the best I could do right now. But you see, it worked. It was a very simple, easy animation. Didn't even have to go in and add bones. That's a little annoying, but it happens. As for having faces on here, having different expressions, and how to, like wink at somebody or have your mouth move when you talk, have eye tracking, stuff like that. I actually have another video coming very soon, probably within the same day today. Maybe not, maybe tomorrow. It depends on how long it takes to edit these videos. But I will give you a very quick tutorial on how to add these faces in Unity so you can use them in game. Though I will say that right now, eye tracking is broken in VRChat. They're going to patch it very soon, though. Don't you worry. But other than that, that was about all that I could show you on how to animate wings. You could do this with pretty much anything on a model. You just have to take the time to select every piece that you want and add the shape key. But even then, that's very simple, like I said. But other than that, I'm done here. And like I said, if you have any more questions, feel free to ask down below, and I will try my best to answer them. Other than that, have a great day.